Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Jersey, and today we are gonna go over the museum build that we did for the Birthday Island, celebrating 1 year of early access of Dinkum. So like any other build, we gotta find and we gotta start with finding the true center, because you know it's always so important wherever you're gonna place your building, right? We gotta find that center, especially if you're gonna work with symmetry and if you're gonna try to create a specific design that you need a true center, right? If you don't need a true center, then you don't have to worry too much about finding it. But in my particular style and this particular build, I needed to find the center. Okay, so the second part is, once we found the center, the idea of this museum is, I already knew I wanted to have 3 levels. So we got the ground floor, we got the second floor, and then we're gonna have for the first time in any of my builds, in a specific building, we're gonna have a third tier. And the third tier is a very special tier, and we'll talk about it once we get there. But okay, so we went ahead and we raised the place where the museum's gonna lay out, right? That was the best way to approach this build for me. It was, okay, I need to find exactly where I want to put this museum. So we went ahead and raised everything. We're bringing all the layers back up, and once I have that, and then we are going to place the museum just to make sure that I like the height, that I like the space, that I like the distance, you know, because in this museum build, like all my other museums, right, I like to have this long walkway. I like to make them elegant. I like to make them feel, you know, it's one of those builds that it gives me the opportunity to design something grand and super elegant, and just to lead you into this museum, you know. And I love to approach a museum build with that mentality, with that thinking. Okay, so I went ahead, I created the base. As you see, we went ahead and put all the cement. And here comes Soho. She places the museum for me, and then I like the height of the museum, right? But there was something I wasn't not loving it. I was not liking it, and I noticed that I didn't like that the museum just felt a little too by itself out there, you know. After we went ahead, put all the stairs and all that, so I decided, you know what, I'm gonna raise this higher. You know, I want then the main platform where the museum's gonna be at, you know, that's gonna be the third tier now, right? Originally, the third tier was not gonna be this high, it was gonna be just a little lower. But you know, I decided that I wanted to attach the third tier to the main top of the museum. And I think once we did that, once we get to that point of that build, it really works. And I ended up loving this idea and this style. But when that happened, it changed a little bit of my design that I was doing in front of the museum, especially the walkway. And we're gonna add this little fountain waterfall in front of it. So now I needed to adjust. And once we adjusted, we're kind of looking, and I wanted to make sure that from far away, we're getting a good view of the museum, that we can see it, you know, because I don't want the museum to actually be hidden behind all this dirt, right? That's very important to me. I want to make sure that we can see the museum in any distance, right? I don't want the fountain to block it. But once we figure that out and we know we can see it, then okay, so now I want to make sure that I got the right distance, that I have a pathway, that I have just a little bit of gap in front of the museum, just in case if we need to do something different. Because you know, inspiration will always hit you in different times, in different ways, and I always want to make sure that we have the right spacing. So like you see over here, I needed to make more space, so we picked everything up. We are expanding a little more on the front, and now we're gonna do again the waterfall, fountain waterfall, just to make sure that everything is working once again. And once I have the right distance, the right height, everything the way that I want to, you know, you see it, you're gonna see it throughout this video. We're gonna walk far away, always have a nice view from the distance. Always make sure of that, right? Don't concentrate too much, always working up close. Make sure that you always go back, walk a little farther, because we need to always make sure that your vision, what you have in your mind, you can always see it, right? And you're gonna see it. I'm gonna walk back and forth quite a few times. Okay, so now I want part of this idea is this little I'm gonna call it a waterfall fountain, right? I want it to be like a multi-level tier one. So we go from here to, it's gonna go down to the second one, and then it's gonna go down to one more eventually, you know. And that's part of it, you know. I wanted to make something even more special, more grand. The whole time in this building, because it's such a special island, such a special activity that we did. I wanted to feel like the most amazing build that I've done so far, right? The most elaborate museum, and that's what I wanted it to feel like. So here we are. So after now I have the initial idea and we got part of the front. Now I need to start working on framing it, right? And I know I wanted to have these walkways, right? That's gonna lead on both sides, that leads you into the museum, right? And it's gonna be on this one is gonna be the second level, right? So you got the ground floor, then you got the second level. This is the height of the second level that we're working on right here. And then you got the third level that's gonna be another big walkway on the very top that is at the same height where the museum is at. Okay, so I had this idea and I wanted to have this bridge, and I wanted this bridge to go in front of the museum, all the way as high from the second floor. But as you can see, I kind of changed that idea. I ended up not liking it, so I stopped building that, because as you can notice that there was heading towards the water. I took that out, I went back, and I decided that I needed to go longer. I needed to have more space. It became that it was just too close, and it was not going to work the way that I wanted it. Okay, so the next thing is I'm going to work on this section again. This is again another idea that I had that I wanted to see after I gave it more space. But again, I faced the same situation. I still felt like I was too close to the museum. It was not going to give me the look and the perspective that I really wanted this museum to have. So even though we did all this work and we're gonna try all this out, we're gonna end up taking it out and moving the bridge one more time, you know, all the way to almost to where the river's at. And once I did that, the view from there, it really worked. It really helped out, you know, because right here it still looks cool, but once you're in the bridge, you kind of miss a lot of the viewing, a lot of the little waterfall fountain that we were building. It just still felt too close, and like I said, I was not enjoying it. It's not what was in my mind. So we're gonna go ahead and take all that out, and we're just gonna move then this bridge one more time, and we're gonna bring it closer towards the river. But like always, you gotta give it a try, you know. And if you're watching this and you like this distance, you like how close this is, you like the way the scenarios is, if you envision something different, and because I'm hoping that this build video that we're doing today is gonna help you to get inspired, and then you're gonna be like, you know what, I can do something like this. Oh, this has inspired me that I can do my museum in a particular way, but I want to add this and I want to add that, and that's what I want, you know, like always. And if you still feel like you need to copy the complete build, every single area, go ahead and do it, because that's why the videos are here. But okay, so after I kind of give you already a little heads up what's gonna happen, you know, that bridge won't stay there. But now I'm working a little bit the way this middle section, right, where the water's hitting, I had this vision that we're gonna have more water coming from the sides. They're gonna pour into this middle section here, and there's gonna be bushes, there's gonna be plants, and I had all these ideas, right? But again, I noticed that I was not gonna have enough space to do my idea. The walkway was not as long as it needed to be, and that's why all of this is gonna be moved, all of this is gonna change, you know, because the idea, and that's always so important, you know, is you make sure that when you're working that you're really happy, that you're really satisfied with what you're building, with what you're doing, because all of that is going to be so important for the future, you know, because you want to be proud of what you're building, you want to be happy of what you're creating. And I think not compromising too much and doing the work, I think that's always going to be one of the most important things to learn, especially on a games like this that you're building, you know. Don't give up. Keep working hard, keep doing what you're doing, you know, and make it the way you really want to make it. And one of the reasons, because I could edit a lot of this out, well, I decided to keep it because I think it always shows, you know, that how we get to a point that we did a lot of work, we got something built, but it's not what we really wanted. So we went ahead and we're gonna take all this down, and that's what I left it in. That's why I wanted to show you, because that way it shows that it's not easy, you know, even for people like me, you know, that we build all the time, that we love this type of games, you know. It's always trial and error to accomplish this. But once I put the bridge down there and I noticed the distance and I really like how that felt, then we're gonna clean this area up. We're gonna refix this little structure right here. As we noticed, I still needed a little bit more of a step. We're gonna rework this walkway right here to have the right dimensions, the right width, the right length. So we're gonna stretch this out even longer. And as we continue to work, you know, and as we continue to build this, I started to notice slowly that the cement tile was not really slowly working with me. You know, I love the cement tile. A lot of my museums are built with cement, not with a lot of marble, but there was something in this one particular. It's not giving me the feel that I really wanted. I really wanted this to feel a little bit more elegant than any of my previous museum builds, and I decided then I was gonna test to do it with marble, you know, and we're gonna get to that point that you're gonna see that I start changing a lot of the cement with marble. So the other thing is, as I was working with this new walkway, you know, right over here, to make sure that I have the right dimensions, that we have the walkway being too wide, then I needed to rework the little fence area that we had on the side. So, and that created another tier of in the middle of another kind of dirt tier that we can work with water, that we can work with bushes. So that was actually great. Wasn't part of the design, it wasn't part of the idea, but because I needed more space and I needed to push things more to the side, it gave me one more row. And I was kind of very excited about that because it gave me more to work with, and I really started to enjoy that and really loving that. So the other thing right here, I didn't want the water just to go straight under the bridge. I wanted to feel like it just opens up a little bit and then the water, everything hits and it has to go under the bridge. So it's a little more design, you know, just giving you this little extra look that I do feel like it just made it feel a lot better, especially on the river as the water leads towards the river. And now we're just really finishing right here. You know, I want to make sure that I have everything correctly, right? Because now we got the stairs that leads to the second this second walkway, you know. Let's just call it the second tier. I think it'd just be a lot easier for me to say second tier. So the stairs that leads to the second tier, and then on those we went ahead with the mossy green path, because you know, mossy and cement looks really great, but also it looks really good with the marble. So I didn't lose any of what I really wanted, especially with the pathing. It really worked out. So okay, so now the next thing is I needed to work on this water design idea that I wanted towards the middle. We got the front, right? We got in the front of the museum, we have the water fountain, everything is falling down, everything is falling into this water that's leading into the river. But I knew I wanted more water, right? And now that we have this extra tier of one more level on the top of the dirt, I was like, man, I can work and create something even better than what I had in mind. So now we have this multiple tier water coming down and falling into different tiers and just going down into the middle of the pool of the water. And I thought that was like, you know, I was like, man, you know what? This is coming out even better than I expected. And it's always so good, right? When you're working on a build and things evolve, but they evolve in such a better way than what you ever expected. And like always, as you see, I'm always going towards the bridge, making sure that everything looks the way it needs to look. I think that's always important, and I always emphasize that. Always take your time, work far away, and look at your build from a distance, because you will see things that you can't see up close. Okay, so now we're working on the other little tier section right over here. The last one that's gonna fall, and then that leads into the big pool area down here that leads the water into the river. And now slowly, you know, anything that we did on one side, we gotta duplicate it on the other side, you know, and that's part of the symmetry, that's part of the design. You know, if we put a bush over here, we gotta do it on the other side, and in a way makes builds a little bit easier, you know, because you can concentrate on one side, get that side completely done. That's something that we're gonna do here, and then you can start working then on the other side, just duplicating everything. So if you're ever working in symmetry and you know you're gonna duplicate something on one side and that leads to the other side, then go ahead and just concentrate on one side. That way all your mind, all your effort, all your energy is going towards that side, and then you can then work on the other side once you know you got one side done. Instead of trying to work on both sides at the same time, just concentrate on one side. I found it easier. I found, at least it works for me a lot better that way. Okay, so this is the moment that I started deciding, you know what, it's not looking as elegant in this particular build the way that I was imagining. So I started changing things from the cement, and I'm going ahead to go with the marble. And then I wanted to raise this a little more over here. I wanted to bring a little bit of the statue. That was always the plan. We were going to have a lot of statues in the stairways leading to different points of this museum, so as people are walking towards the stairs, they're gonna go by these statues, right? And we're gonna use, and we pretty much use all of them, you know, and I think it worked out really well in this particular build. So okay, so the other thing that I wanted to do on this walkway, on this little fence over here, I started putting all the marble pedestals, but there was something about it. I liked it at first, and that's why you see them on there for a long time. I liked it, but then I noticed once I put the statues that I needed to put, you know, the kangaroo over there, I slowly noticing that the visualization of the pedestal, they're blocking the statue, right? Okay, and that's more of a preference. I'm just being a little more picky, but I ended up moving those pedestals when the right time comes. We'll talk about that a little bit more when the time comes. But now I was really inspired. I really wanted to start working in the middle just to make sure that my vision that I had also for the middle, we had the right space. So we made 2 circles with the rock, because that's, you know, I really wanted to put all the elements. If everything that we have had in Dinkum so far, I really kind of wanted to put a little bit of each right over here in this build to celebrate the 1 year. So I went ahead and used the rock one. We made 2 circles, you know, 2 circle patterns. We're gonna use the croc statues that we all love so much, and we're gonna ahead and put it on the water, you know, because they look so good on the water. And then we slowly started adding some lily pads and stuff like that. And once I had something happening, and I'm like, okay, I got this, then let me start working on the back wall back there just to make sure, because I'm gonna work on this 3rd tier, right? So I needed to make sure that it's gonna look good, you know. And when I finish connecting this walkway over here, I wanted to see how everything was gonna look. I wanted to see if that little back wall back there, as you're leading towards the stairs, it will give you the right feel, or it doesn't look good, does it look good? All of that was very important to me, so I needed to start checking and moving things around, and just kind of, and in this particular build, I'm jumping back and forth, right? I'm going from over here on this particular build, then I'm going over here on this other particular side of the build, because there were so many things that I needed to make sure, you know, on this particular build, that it just, my mind was going all over the place. But okay, so here we are. So I'm putting the pedestals again, and then that's when I noticed it, when I put that 2nd row on the other side, and I was like, you know what, I need to change this, I need to tweak this, it's blocking the statue, it's kind of blocking the view, it just didn't feel right. So what I came up with the idea was, what about if I lower them? Instead of being the tall one, it's gonna be lower. So once we did that, we lowered it, and then but the dirt felt too flat, like I want it from the other side so you can see a little depth. So what we did, if we took dirt out of that other section right here, and that really started making feel the build more, you know. And then because we did that, it gave us the option to add more water, and I thought that was like really cool, and I can't wait till we start adding all that water over there. So the same thing over here, I feel like they were a little too tall, so I don't know, it was too tall, kind of the same level as the statue. There was something about it, and so I went ahead and lowered the ones leading towards the stairs. And then where we took all that dirt right over here, we are going ahead and we are putting the water beds right over here, and then we added more dirt in between them, so they kind of hides the water beds. And then slowly now the middle section is coming out even better than I ever expected. Because that wasn't part of the plan, you know. But that's the great thing about buildings, that's what the great thing about builds, it's just things evolve, right? You have your initial idea, you have your initial concept, right? And you always want to work towards that, you know, that's the goal, that's your vision. But in the process, things start evolving, things start getting better, and it's just an amazing feeling, like always. Okay, so since I have the space, I wanted to add a little bit more of glow at night. I want to have this little light, I want to have this little extra warm, so we're gonna use some of the flowers that light up at night, and that will give it that extra glow at night. I really wanted this front of the fountain, you know, it's not supposed to be a waterfall, it's supposed to be a fountain. So we went ahead and added the marble, because I didn't want dirt just to be what's on the front, I wanted the marble. Okay, so now we get to this section over here, right? And you're gonna be like, okay, what happened? Why there's a big, why we jump from one section to this section? So I don't, something in my videos, it was so bad, you know, OBS didn't just record it correctly. It looked, I don't know, it was like a super laggy something in the recording. So because of that happened, you know, a lot of that extra portion I could not use it. It just could not work for the video. But the good thing is that this portion of the video, when we started right here, right, this for right here, it started recording very, very well. It's just, you can use it, you know, all this footage we can able to use it. So the good thing is, anything that you see over here, it's the same thing you gotta duplicate on the other side. I just don't have all the steps, how we did the vine wall and all of that, but as you can see it, and slowly you start seeing, you see how we did the vine wall back on over there on the other side. We got the third tier finished over there. But the good thing is we're gonna see a lot of that extra part of the build, right? Especially building the third tier, because we had the second tier done on a little bit before. All we needed to put is the vine wall in between the wall and the fence. And as you can see it right on some of the clips, if you need to slow it down, but you will be able to see it right over there. Okay, so and then on the other side, of course, we don't have the footage. I did this little fountain on the side over here, so we're just duplicating. So anything that you see that's being done on this side over here is the same thing that we had on the other side. See it? So, okay, and I do apologize for that. It's just, you know, technology. Sometimes that stuff happens. But okay, so let's refocus back on the build. Okay, so now we're just working on the staircase, right? So basically, like I mentioned before, we are gonna duplicate everything that we did on one side. We just duplicated it on the other side. So as you're following this video, you know, then just duplicate what we have on this side and duplicate it on the other side. And that's the best way I can explain it, you know. But like always, we went with marble. We're gonna work on some of the statues right over here. That's what we're putting over here. Over here, we're working on the staircases. This is gonna lead all the way to the back, because this staircase right over here is the staircase that leads you to the third tier of the museum. That we're gonna do something special and something, you know, something really good. That it was last moment inspiration. I really wanted to do it, and it worked out really great, and I'm so happy that Soho liked the idea and that we were able to add that as a thank you for all the other creators that work on this island as well. So it's nighttime, you know, and you're gonna see the light going back and forth all the time. This is a creative island that we were working on, so there's other people working over here, especially Soho, and the light just keeps changing back and forth, even though the day says the same, but it's night, then it's daytime, and it just go back and forth. But I had an opportunity, since it's nighttime, I'm able to work a little bit of the lights at this moment, and I started adding key lights in key places, and we're using the stone lamp. They look really well in this particular build. They really match the area. It just gave that elegance and that look and that warmth that we were looking for, and it just worked out really, really great. And again, okay, so now we're working here on the pedestal. So as you can see, I decided, like right in the middle of the pedestals, instead of having more hibiscus, we're gonna take this off. We're gonna put more of the stone lamps to give it a little bit more light across the stairs. And then I'm working on all the corners right over here. As you can see, this is something that I already did on the other side, but we don't have the footage, so you get to see it right over here. And it looks really cool, you know. A lot of this detail work, I'm kind of sad that we lost it, that footage was not being able to use. It's just, it was really bad. Like it was just so pixelated. I don't know what happened, but at least the ending process, all the stuff that we have over here, we're able to use it for you guys to kind of get the idea, and you guys can piece it together, you know. And what we did with the bridge area over here, you're gonna notice it's a little smaller, right? I really wanted the bridge to arch a little bit more than it just being more flat. So what we did, instead of being a long bridge, we made it really short. So we made the canal under the bridge a lot shorter, smaller, and I think he also gave it that cozy look. I like when these bridges have that little arch. It just looks better and it feels better. Okay, so now we're working on the third tier, and it's basically just a lot of dirt printing that we're doing right over here. We just dirt printing until we close all this area. Then we're gonna frame it again with the marble that we have, and we're gonna then do the pathing that we'll be using the mothy green path. and it's been really great, you know. That's why we did. I did a little bit speed up here because it was literally so much dirt printing, just going and going and then just going. Okay, so now we're framing this. We're putting the marble, you know, the whole structure of the building, you know, the outside, what you see when you walk it, it's gonna be marble. It's no longer cement, you know. I think the marble really did a really great look and feel to this area. Okay, so then we're gonna do the fencing. So this is the fencing that of course is on the other side as well. So we're gonna use my favorite fence combination, that is the iron fence and with the hedges. It just gives it that look. It's the same height, it works really well. So and then on the back end over here, it's the same thing on the other side. We just can't see it, but at least we see the process how I built it. We went ahead and used the new lights that we got on the anniversary, this curtain of lights that looks so beautiful. Then what we did, we plant 2 jacaranda trees. That way when the purple season, when it's spring, they look nice and purple, but also it gives you a little more height, more elevation, and it looks really nice over here. We get some shade for where we're putting all these benches over here, and then we got all these pillars that's gonna be cement that we're gonna put statues. And this is how this idea started evolving. You know, I wanted to put statues, but this new one of the characters, right? And then in front of them we're gonna put signs, and in front of this and on the signs is gonna be the names of all the creators that work on this island and all the people that helped. So I believe it was close to 20 people total that work on this project, and it was such an amazing. And I love that Soho loved the idea of doing this. So what we did, instead of just having 3 and 3 on one side, all around the museum on the outside, we're gonna put all these creators and we're gonna put all their names. And guys, this just came out so good. It actually also gave it a little this look on the outside of the museum, because you see all this beam, all this structure. It just looked really good. And look at this. Look at all the creators that work, all the statues representing. And then we have everything looking so great over here. You know, you get a good view of the museum, how everything is falling, how everything is working, and slowly this area is finally coming together. The museum is just one big piece, looking so good. So now we needed to finish adding the grass, that we needed to add grass on all these patches over here. And we're just doing now final tweaks. Soho was coming. I was telling Soho the idea of this, because I really wanted to make sure that the idea worked, the idea was good, and she loved it, she inspected it, she approved it. So now we're doing the outside of the museum. This is something I already did on the other side as well. So we're just doing a whole row of pine trees. We're gonna ahead and plant them all right over here. They're gonna grow and they're gonna block a little part of this building, but also give you a little bit of greenery, right? And then in all the dirt, we are gonna go ahead and do all the grass that we need to. That way you get all the spring flowers, and instead of being dirt, it's just a lot of grass all around this area, as we're doing right here right now. And then yeah, and those are the final details, you know, working on this museum, working on this idea, this Soho, you know, as the way she reached out to all of us, and we were able to make this happen. It was such a great opportunity, and we had such a great time. And I hope that all of you enjoyed this build, enjoyed this museum, you know, and the style. And I hope that has inspired you, for you guys to build something similar in your style, all the same way. Let me know how that went. But guys, you made it to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. And don't forget to hit a like, subscribe if you want to see more videos, and we'll see you next time. Alright guys, see you later. Bye.